Hi, welcome back to the newest installment, the newest video snippet from Deadly Affirmations, the video novel. Today we're going to read the first part of chapter 11. It's called Let Your Passion Lead You. So if you're ready for a little inspiration, a little affirmation, let's begin. Here we go. It was Thursday. Patience woke up feeling happy. The first thing that crossed her mind was the memory of the real pleasure she took in the simple, repetitive creation that she had discovered in knitting. She was only a few hours into her first scarf. "How does anyone make those wonderfully intricate Aran sweaters?" she whispered to herself. "Someday I will," and smiled. She hopped out of bed and cleaned herself up for work. She rustled up a pair of maroon straight-leg slacks, a slate gray cardigan sweater, a light blue floral top, and her little black slip-on Vans sneakers. Patience pulled a big bag from the closet. It was big enough for her knitting supplies, wallet, phone, and lunch. She went to the kitchen and grabbed a bottle of water from the pantry, an apple from the bowl on the table, and a couple of those little cow cheesy things from the dairy drawer of the fridge, all into the big bag. What else? Oh yes, her guide and affirmation for the day. Most people do what they think they ought to do all through their lives. When you listen to the voices outside yourself, that is where you fall victim to giving in to the ought-tos. If you concentrate on the voice deep in your soul that knows what you are born to do, you can ignore the ought-tos trying to point you in the wrong direction. Your passion should be your guide to the path on the journey that is your life. Phew, thought Patience. Easier said than done, I think. Now for the affirmation. And she rummaged through the little box, searching for the right card for today. There it was, 46. I'm unique. I feel good about being alive and being me. What was her passion? Well, for today, Patience decided that it would be knitting. At her feet, Abraxas yowled his terrible hunger. She looked down at him, and he made sure that she could see how very weak from hunger he was. "Oh yeah," she said to herself in Brax, and keeping the cat fat and happy. Abraxas nudged her and rubbed himself against her shin as if to tell her that she was correct. She put his food on the floor and checked his water, and then she left for work. Patience pulled out of her driveway, turned right, and traveled a couple of blocks until she came to Union Street. She turned left and followed a beat-up old pickup truck through traffic for 6 or 7 blocks. At a red light, an arm came out of the driver's window, tossing a pillowcase out into the street. The light changed to green, and the truck roared away. Littering, what a jerk! And then Patience saw the little bag wiggle. Patience stopped and turned on her hazard lights, opened her door, and picked it up. Inside were 5 squirmy kittens. She checked them to see if any bones were broken, and miraculously none were. By this time, the cars behind her were honking at her to get moving. She carefully put the bag in her back seat and followed the guy in the truck. He had driven off less than a minute ahead of her, but it took her a good 5 minutes to catch up with him. If he had turned off of Union Street, she would have lost him, but he seemed to be happily heading somewhere that involved no turns. He drove to the edge of town and out into the country about half a mile and finally turned right down a long dirt driveway that led to a ramshackle wooden house. Patience could tell that he was aware of her following him. She could see him looking from time to time in the rearview mirror. He stopped about 10 feet from his house, opened his door, and got out. She pulled up about 15 feet behind him. He was a tall, scrawny man with a dirty shirt and a scraggly 2-day-old beard. Before she got out, she reached into her big bag and grabbed one of the knitting needles. "What the fuck do you want, following me like that, bitch?" he said, moving down the driveway toward her. "Excuse me, sir, did you lose a bag at the light back in town?" He laughed. "Just them pussies. I don't have time to take care of their bitch mother's byblow. They're better off run over. I don't need to waste money feeding them." "Oh," she said. "Well, then there's something I want to show you." And Patience motioned for the man to come closer. "What is it?" he asked, bending down a little to see her better. He didn't see what she held in her hand. "Nothing much," she said as she jammed the knitting needle into his left eye. He dropped to his knees before falling back, briefly inhaling open-mouthed before he died. "Just desserts," she said. Shit. She was going to need that needle if she was going to finish her scarf. Patience reached down and pulled it out of the man's eye, wiped it on the grass, and walked back to the car. She reached in the glove compartment and found the little pack of Caspari Kitty's hankies that she kept there for sneezes. She used one to wipe the blood, something like gel, and was that a piece of the jerk's brain stuck to the tip of my needle? From the stiff plastic, yuck. She would have to clean it off again when she got to work. Patience heard a tiny meow and remembered the sackful of kittens in the back seat. Damn, she was going to be late to work, but she had to get those little kitties to the shelter. She Googled the number on her phone and called. "I've got a bag full of kittens," she began. "No, a guy tossed them in the road on my way to work, and I got them before they were run over. Yes, I'll be right over. Thanks." It took her 25 minutes to get to the River City Animal Society's cat crib. She was met at the door by Amy, a 40-ish woman with a crew cut, lots of tattoos on her arms, and a winning smile. "Let's see who you've brought us," she said, carefully taking the pillowcase from Patience. Patience followed Amy into the back room. The front area was full of cats and litter boxes and cat food dishes and cat beds and cat toys and lots and lots and lots of cats of all sizes, colors, shapes, and ages. "We'll have to have our vet check them out and then give them their shots before we can let them play with the other clients," Amy said, pulling first one and then another until finally 5 furry, adorable little balls of kitten fur sat on the table, looking up with huge kitten eyes, wondering where they were and who these big folks were. When she had got them all arranged, at least for the moment, next to each other on the table, she said, "At first glance they all look fine. All of their parts, including their meowers, seem to work. We'll take good care of them. Don't worry. Thanks for bringing them to us." "Can I come and visit them?" Patience asked, wiggling a finger in front of a little tortoiseshell baby who promptly grabbed the finger in its tiny claws and refused to let it go. "We're open every day from 8:30 until 5. You're very welcome to visit. After all, you saved them," Amy said, and gave Patience a hug.